to keep thinking about how we can communicate effectively. I'm a big believer that nothing replaces face-to-face meetings. We need those to establish relationships, but I also think that we can use technology a lot more. And we're doing a lot of work electronically as well to make the work of government less expensive across the country, like most of you. So those are a couple of big things we're doing. And as I said, we really do feel the pain. We do try to help with the training needs that people have by trying to come where you are, as opposed to having centralized training out of DC or somewhere else. And we're always open to suggestions.
Right. And you know, I can say in Region 4 that the region has been very sensitive to some of the challenges that we faced, especially in light of these budgetary times. You'll see from this slide that 80% indicated that staff redirection reduction has not impacted the achievement of grant commitments, federal grant dollars, or other performance indicators for core programs. And 76% indicate that there's been no new funding established for these new initiatives. So how exactly are we getting it done? Is the focus on ensuring that we achieve these grant commitments impacting our ability to focus on state priorities, or are we, how exactly are we getting it done? Stan?
Well, you called me right after you changed the subject.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go back to the original. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sure somebody will have something to say about that. I was just going to comment that in California, we've taken on some new initiatives, of course. Like most states, we've had to deal with some of the emerging chemical issues. We've taken on green chemistry in a big way, and we've had budget cuts, even in light of all the disaster response that we've had with the fires. We had to cut emergency response field staff by about half. So it's been painful, but what we've done to try to offset that is try to find friends with lots of money. One of the sources of money that kind of aligned with our program was the bottle and can deposit fund in our Department of Conservation. So we talked to them and convinced them that this is also a waste management issue, and we got some money and fired up a new group of people working on innovative plastics and beverage container ideas. Got research money to funnel to the universities, and so we're trying to find places where we can fill in the gaps with new sources of funding. And some of those kinds of funding, I'm sure most states have things like that, and in California it's a huge war chest of money, and they were only too glad to have us help spend some of it.
Okay. I'm surprised he's been as quiet as he has for so long. I'm going to ask Butch, who made a statement about a silly reorganization, if he could kind of share with us some of the things that they're doing in Maryland.
Thank you. I'm Butch Dye. I'm the heretic of the Maryland Department of the Environment. I have to be very careful. My director is sitting over here, but what's he going to do, fire me, and I'll have to go surfing every day? Oh, please don't throw me in the briar patch. I'm going to speak from the heart, because I think I've been around probably too long, over 34 years. I'm always suspicious when I see the term new initiative. Many times in the past, the new initiative has been the old initiative wrapped in a new dress or a new coat or something like that. It becomes a distraction many times for a new initiative when you're trying to complete your grant commitment or your legislative statutory requirement, etc. I've never been able to figure out how to be able to do everything with as little as we have. from the years back when I was an inspector and first a manager of the hazardous waste program. I used to have a staff of 23 people that did just hazardous waste inspections. We are now down to a staff of probably 3.5 individuals that do hazardous waste inspections. The commitments have not diminished. The initiatives have not stopped. So I kind of wonder, where do we go to make sure that we are prioritizing and really doing the work of what the taxpayers want us to do? If Norm Nosenchuk was here, he'd be swinging from the chandeliers screaming that it's all about beans. Well, it's more than beans. It's about environmental obligations, environmental stewardship, and making sure the air, the water, and the earth is clean enough for us and our future generations. I'm very happy to hear a lot of the states have new programs or new ideas, etc., that I'm going to take back to our state as well. We go through a lot of reorganizations. I'm not so sure we go through reorganizations with the proper discipline. Discipline means you know how to focus, you know how to identify, and you know how to itemize what is important. That is one of our biggest challenges. With the technology of today, we ought to know where the insults are. We ought to know where the sensitive receptors are so that we can focus on these things and collaborate in some fashion to make sure that we get the job done. So much for my bloviating.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask Gary if he would, don't look at me in that tone of voice, if he would share with us a little bit about what they're doing in Illinois. Did I do something?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Is this on?
Should be.
Well, I was hoping to come to this conference and not hear this kind of stuff because in Illinois we're really in such a negative situation. We're looking at a 15% layoff of staff within the work on the waste management and cleanup programs, and we're right in the middle of that. We have not had a layoff in over 20 years, and I don't know what kind of impact it's going to have on the morale of our entire working force when we get done with that process. So I guess I don't have any positive words to say. I mean we're really struggling struggling with those issues and trying to come to grips with what we're gonna face. And we've really gotten into this position for two reasons. One, there has been a diminished federal support of state programs. I mean, I know, and I've heard EPA say that they share the pain that states go through. They're not. I don't believe it. I don't believe they're sharing the pain to the extent states are. So we've seen a diminished support from the federal government, and then we've just seen a devastating sweep of our state operational funds from our from our legislature and governor's office over the last several years that has absolutely caught up with us. So
how are you going to get the work done?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're really going to have to look at going back and reducing our commitments to EPA as far as what we're doing with respect to federal workload. On the state aspect, we have already cut a number of significant programs, just eliminated them because we cannot fund them anymore. And we've had a program over the years where we've supported, as an innovative approach, we supported local inspectors to do the job of state inspectors relative to our solid waste programs. That was like 50 positions, and it was a good, cheap way to provide support. We've cut all those positions as well. So it's really been we have really seen a reduction in our